Hi Virgo. Happy Virgo season. Happy birthday. I hope you guys are doing well. It's been a really interesting summer and a lot of shifts and a lot of changes. And now we come into our season, and the task for us, which is really interesting, the task for us in September is to find the joy, is to find the fun and to find the joy. And when that's difficult, when you are in a place where everything feels like it's falling apart, and when you're in a place there aren't any answers, and for a Virgo, that's like the end of the world when there aren't any answers, because we're trying to find those answers and it's like impossible to do. When we get to that place, we have to really look and see what needs to be changed in our lives, because it's no longer about what we can do. And that's sort of the thing with Virgos, is we look on the surface, and if it doesn't look right, or it feels like it needs to be fixed in some way, we try and fix it, or we try and find a way to fix it, or just make it better. And it's not even just our lives, it's everybody's lives. I don't know how many times I've done it in my life, but I've given unsolicited advice to other people often. Like, I did it a whole lot. I used to do it a whole lot. And now, instead of inserting myself into other people's lives and into other people's issues, I take a step back and I ask them, would you like my advice? Sometimes they say yes, sometimes they say no. The key to that is allowing yourself to take that no, or when somebody doesn't take your advice that you give, and to not take it personally. And to find out if you are taking it personally, or you do feel like you really wish they would have just taken your advice because things would have worked out differently for them. Find that trigger. Why is it that you feel like this person or these people need to be able to do that? And the reason why I'm suggesting that is we get so caught up in the how and the why and the where and the when, that we don't allow ourselves to just exist. And when we're just existing, and we've talked about this before, when we're just existing in a present moment and we find the gratitude within that present moment, there's the joy and there's the happiness. Instead of having to look at the bigger picture, and instead of having to always find the answers to every, to the universal problems, to the universal, like the depth of the world. Why are you holding all of that on your shoulders? I actually had a solar return astrology reading done by a good friend of mine. And he even said those words to me, that not just this September, but for this whole year, for this next solar return that you're having, Virgo, it's about finding the joy. And it's about finding that peace. And it's possible to do that when there's chaos going on in the world, because people will say to me, but Betsy, what about the pandemic? What about not having, the fear of losing my job, or the fear of losing my house, or the fear of losing this and the fear of losing that? And I'm going to look at you and say, the more fear, the more emotion, the more fear and that emotion that you are placing onto whatever it is you're afraid to lose, or whatever it is you're afraid to get, the more fear you place onto that, the easier you're going to attract it. So if you don't want to lose your job, then don't think about the fact that you may lose your job. If you don't want to lose your house, then don't think about the fact that you want to lose your house. Instead, what you can do is be grateful that you have a house, and be grateful that you have a job. And if you are a person that's in the position that you're in transition and things are a little bit rougher than they would normally be, Find your gratitude in that day. Find your gratitude. I'm not saying that you have to be happy about where you are. I'm just saying you have to be grateful. It's not about being in a good place or being in a bad place. It's just aligning to the place that you're in. Because once we're aligned in that present moment, and once we're aligned in that place that we're in, we can see the next step clearly. Instead of looking at all 6 steps ahead of us that we have, just take that one. But start from right here. You see what I'm saying? And because there's so much transition that's happening for Virgos right now, and there's so much change. Yes, we're mutable, but we're also Earth. And so we like to have that stability. And the way that we're mutable is the way that we think with Mercury and the way that we do, right? So if we don't have stable footing to do all of the things, of course, our minds are going to be in chaos. So for Virgos, it's very, very important to meditate on the present moment. And if you have a hard time doing that, come join us over on the memberships. We do meditations every week. You'll learn how to meditate. For me, meditation is the best medicine. And there is no right or wrong way to meditate either. Also, before we get started with your cards, I want to remind you guys that I do have a lot of specials for my birthday. My birthday is next week. It's next Sunday. It's on the 30th of August. Sorry, for those of you that are watching this in September, they're going to be like, next Sunday. My birthday is on the 30th of August, but I have some birthday specials on my website. If you click the description, there's a link below. You can get the 30-minute readings at only $60. You can get the astrology charts for $111. They're usually $175. And I also have a few one-question 30-minute readings available. And then there is something that I added that's not on the actual list, but I did add it in that link below. There are 20-minute recharge Reiki sessions. So we cleanse your aura and recharge, and they're long distance Reiki sessions, and they're only $47 for 20 minutes. And that's a huge discount off of the Reiki. So take advantage of that while you can. It's only limited. The supply is limited because my energy is limited. I think that there are like a few left in each category. So jump on that if you can. Let's see what your cards are going to say. I wanted to just chat with you because this is a big year that's coming up for Virgos. We have a lot of stuff, Aries has, Mars is in Aries, and it's squaring off for the rest of 2020. It's squaring off with Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn in Capricorn. And it's doing it 3 times. Mars is in the fight of his life, the battle of his life. There has never been an energy like this before. And you may feel your temper charging. You may feel extremely passionate about the things as the cards just come flying out. You may become extremely passionate about the direction that you're going and the things that you're doing. You may feel that self-doubt creep in and not know what your next step is supposed to be or is going to be. And a lot of times in September, what we want to remember is that, is it worth disturbing your peace? Is this argument worth disturbing your peace? Is this matter of opinion, this difference of opinion worth disturbing your peace? So we have the 5 of Swords, the 8 of Pentacles, the 10 of Swords, the Page of Pentacles, and the 8 of Cups. Virgo, you're not going to be able to distract yourself enough to get away from the chaos. It's the distractions are only causing more delay. The more you distract yourself from the journey that you're supposed to be on, and you're like, Betsy, I don't even know what my journey is supposed to be. And that's why I need you to stop distracting yourself, because you have things that you need to figure out. And you want to be able to take the steps forward. You want to be able to do the things. You want to be able to create and learn and help other people and be service oriented. And you want to be able to do the stuff. But the fighting and the arguing and the not knowing where the exact trigger is from, driving yourself crazy and then distracting yourself to get away from being driven crazy, that's only going to bring more what's the word that I want to use there? Deception to yourself, right? So I feel like September is, with this 10 of Swords, there's definitely something that you're letting go of here. And there's something that you're letting go of that made you feel really diminished, right? Really diminished, really, really small. And the moment that you recognize your own ability to be able to emotionally detach and emotionally walk away from those things that, you know, this 5 of Wands up here, like, you don't want to fight, you don't want to argue. The moment you recognize what it is that you need to detach yourself from, the easier the journey gets. And then this 10 of Swords no longer exists. It moves into an Ace of Swords, right? And then your mind is a little bit more clear. Because the 10 of Swords for me is going to the worst possible case scenario. And we can manifest the worst possible case scenario very, very easily by thinking, by putting our energy and our fear into it. You see what I'm saying? That's why we talked about the fear stuff earlier. And manifesting more fear because we're thinking of the fear is not that's not it. Right? That's not the part that we want. So let's see. How can we transmute this 5 of Wands? Well, probably allowing ourselves to understand our true value, right? There's this struggle with self-worth for Virgos. You know, Virgo season is actually really hard on us Virgos, and I don't know if you've recognized it, but because we put so much pressure on ourselves, Virgo season seems to be the time that we put the most pressure on ourselves. And the reason why is because the sun, like, you know, the sun is shining basically on all of our Virgo elements in our chart, right? So this 5 of Pentacles and Judgment on the 5 of Wands, there's a trigger around your self-worth that's being brought to your attention right now. That Judgment card, it's really loud to me. It's being really, really loud. So that Judgment card is basically saying that it is time for you to recognize what this wound is, what this self-worth wound is. Why do you feel like you're in the way? Why do you feel like you're not good enough? Why do you feel like you're never going to be good enough? Why do you feel like this person, there must be something wrong with you because this person doesn't love you? There must be something wrong with you because you didn't get this job. There must be something wrong with you because this person doesn't want to be your friend. And there's actually nothing wrong with you. Those people are not supposed to be, they were a brief part of your journey and now you're moving on. But you have to learn how to separate yourself from what other people are doing to you and the perception that they have of you and who you truly are. So there's this self-worth identification trigger that's coming up for you in September. And I know that you're going to try and distract yourself from it because that's what we do best. When there's something emotionally charged within a Virgo, we say, nope, I'm going to just, right? Here's the thing. there are opportunities that you've been taking steps towards, and you won't have to distract yourself to get these opportunities. This Ace of Wands, that's a gift. The aces are the gifts from the universe. And so the Ace of Wands on the Eight of Pentacles, there's an opportunity when it does come to for work and for money, and it's going to show itself to you, but you have to be willing to do the work and not distract yourself out of it. And you also have to be willing to say, I deserve this kind of recognition. I deserve this kind of passion in my life and acceptance and love, because that's what the Ace of Wands represents. So let's see. Ten of Swords. Yeah, it's deep. It always is. Virgo season readings are always deep for you guys. Oof, see what I mean? You're coming to the end of the burdens. You're coming to the end of it. And I'm not sure that you really recognize that. I think that you're still, it's still August. We're not quite to September yet. And so you don't feel the relief. But, you know, it hasn't escaped me that we have the Ace of Wands here and the Ten of Wands here. So we're literally ending a cycle and then beginning a new one, right? I said before the Ace of Swords would come out after the Ten of Swords, but instead we have the Ace of Wands with the Ten of Wands. The Ten of Wands is the burden, and your burden is literally thinking about the worst possible case scenario. How horribly is this going to end? How horribly is this going to turn out? You know, and having a perception of the reality that is only an illusion, actually, because, you know, it hasn't happened yet, right? So our perception is that we think that something is going to happen, and then we place the worst possible case scenario within that. You see? So coming to the end of that cycle will bring you, you know, you literally looking at that self-wound, feeling not good enough, feeling left out, and coming to the end of that cycle and not holding on to that burden anymore is going to bring you a lot of blessings. But you really have to be willing to do it and not just say you're going to do it. Bottom of the deck is the Moon. That Pisces full moon is going to be a thing. Take a spiritual cleansing bath that night. It'll help. Two of Wands on the Page of Pentacles. The crossroads that you're in right now, it's a whole brand new journey, Virgo. You're at a crossroads and you're at a whole brand new journey. And you know, it's hard for Virgos to transition. I used to think that it was really easy for me to do and that I could flow with the energy, but I just moved halfway across the country. And so I moved from Kansas City to Maryland. And I was just so ready for it. And there were some hard parts to it, but moving and getting here was the easy part. And then the transition and the settling in. And Virgos are so psychic in their bodies. Like Virgos are extremely psychic in their bodies that we, like, because we, you know, the stomach, we rule the stomach. And that's why Virgos have a tendency to have nervous stomachs, because that's where we hold all of our stress, is within our stomach. And Virgos stress quite a bit, right? So you don't realize, you know, pay attention to what your body is telling you during this time, during this transition, during this new journey, because it's going to tell you what you're doing is right or what you're doing is wrong. when you get that nervous sense within your stomach, you have to take deep breaths and you have to allow yourself to release the emotions of holding on to that. Because the energy that you're placing on the emotional outcome, right? 6 of Pentacles on the 8 of Cups. The 6 of Pentacles is asking you where you're placing your energy, where you're placing your material worth, where you're placing your money. Where are you, what direction are you heading in? Are you giving it to people, places, and things that are giving back to you? Or are you giving it to people, places, and things that are just draining you? Right? And so when we decide that it's time for us to emotionally detach from the things that are no longer serving us, that can be really hard. Because then we have to admit that we have to change too. Right? The moon. I was wondering where that guy was going to be. So we have the Four of Pentacles and the 2 of Cups at the bottom of the deck. There's somebody that you're really, really, really thinking about, very concerned about, maybe not even concerned, but this could either be somebody from your past, it could be somebody that's currently in your present, present energy. This could be somebody that hasn't quite showed up yet, but you're wondering about the other half. You're wondering, and I don't like to use it as, I don't like to say the other half, just because I feel like you have to be 2 whole individuals before you come back together. But if you're not being completely honest about how you feel towards somebody, or if they're not being completely honest to how they feel about you, not being transparent with each other is going to create more problems than not, right? So allowing yourself to be fully open and transparent with them is going to help them be fully transparent, open with you. It's hard to do that because you also have to have boundaries up, right? Don't rush into the relationship aspect. Don't rush into because I feel like somebody wants to approach you, or you want to approach them, either with an apology, or they want to say, they have things to say. They want to say things. And when you rush that, when you bombard somebody with all of your words that you want to say, it can be really intimidating. So pull yourself back a little bit. That's another present moment thing. September is about finding the joy in the present moment, finding the gratitude and the joy in the present moment, and allowing yourself to grow and be passionate from there, not from where you came from, and not from, the fiction of the future, the illusion of the future. You're manifesting the Magician with the 3 of Pentacles. You're manifesting a whole new foundation. You're really starting from the beginning, it feels like, in September. It's almost as if you're like, this has to be a whole new life for me because I can't keep doing what I was doing before. This has to be like a whole new journey for me. And it's about accepting that it's okay to let go of a false belief system. It's okay to let go of a train of thought that you once believed, you once believed in. It's okay to let go of a person or a job or, whatever it is that you're having to do so that you can rebuild this foundation. I don't think the love's going to be there in September, to be honest. I think that you are still looking and you're still holding out hope for it, right? 4 of Pentacles, 2 of Cups, and the 3 of Wands. It's like you're waiting for it's like you have this certain idea of the way you want this relationship. The 4 of Pentacles doesn't feel restrictive to me in this sense, but it does feel a little bit like I still want you to allow the flow to go through. you're really holding on to a particular idea of what you would like to show up in your life. And I want you to open your eyes up a little bit more that it may not be that way, that the person that's coming towards you may not be the idea of who you thought it was, you know? So keep an open mind there. I love you guys. I hope you have a really wonderful birthday. Please take advantage of the birthday bash stuff. We've got a lot of exciting things coming up for the channel this year. The channel is also 3 years old on September 3rd. So that's another thing. Really big milestone for me. I've learned so much by doing this, and you guys were the first reading that I did three years ago. So I appreciate you for that. Have a wonderful, wonderful birthday, and I will see you guys soon. Bye.